Welcome to Social Distancing Cooking episode 17. We haven't posted in a while because we ran out of ideas of things to make. But now, in true fall season, we're going to be making pumpkin cookies.
This is an adapted recipe from something that I got a long time ago for pumpkin cookies. But it's really a squash cookie. You can use any kind of squash that you like. Today we're going to use canned pumpkin, but I have made it before with acorn squash. You can use any winter squash like butternut, anything like that. You just need 1 cup of cooked squash of any kind to make these delicious cake-like cookie goodness.
Yummy.
Yum.
Yeah, let's get started. First step is to always wash your hands. Why are you using dish soap? I like the smell of it.
Like the dish soap.
Well, wash your hands with soap and warm water before cooking or handling any food.
Ooh. So for this recipe, we need all-purpose flour. We need sugar, white sugar and brown sugar for my adaptation, baking soda and baking powder, vanilla extract. Today we're using homemade vanilla extract, salt, pumpkin spice, an egg, and chocolate chips if you would like them, and of course, last but not least, pumpkin and butter.
Butter. And we've already preheated the oven to 350 degrees. Step 1, Mommy.
So the first step is to cream the butter and the sugar. So the original recipe was like a Weight Watchers, like health conscious cookie recipe, but who wants healthy cookie biscuits? So instead of margarine, my adaptation is to do butter. So it's 2 sticks of butter or 1 cup of butter. Oh wait, let me make sure I'm not crazy. Yes, 1 cup of butter. And so this is going to be a lot like chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to do 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar and 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. And then we'll cream those together in the mixer.
Cool.
Get some measuring cups, 3 of these of packed brown sugar.
That's 1.
2.
Sweet.
3. And Mom probably should have white sugar first, but anyways. So we'll have a little brown sugar and white sugar and butter.
Then you need 3 cups of white sugar.
3/4 of a cup. So these are all 1/4 cups. 1 and 2. Oops. 2 and 3.
Yay.
Or you could do this by hand if you would like, with a paddle attachment. I usually start this on low. You cream the butter and sugar together, which means you're mixing together until they're light and fluffy. While that's going, I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit here. Reed's going to crack an egg.
Crack an egg.
You get your shells?
I think so.
All right.
And 2 eggs.
Get rid of that egg bowl. We'll let that mix.
Yeah.
And this is our homemade vanilla extract.
Whoa.
Okay, so we'll let those mix in the sink.
Now we're gonna mix the dry ingredients.
I just burped. I hope you didn't
What's
touch it.
what's the dry ingredients?
The dry ingredients are going to be the flour, baking powder, and baking soda, and salt.
The dry ingredients. This.
So, I have read that you should spoon your dry ingredients into the cup and then level them off. I don't usually do that, but we'll do that for this video.
No, that's too slow.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a million times.
I agree. Let's do that. Let's do it like this. We'll still level it off. Just go like this. And then we'll level it off with my clean hands. So we need 2.5 cups of flour.
Do you think you'll need a bigger bowl?
Nah, because this is just going to go into the 2.5 cups. So this is 1, 2. And this is a half.
I got them counted.
Way to go. So 2.5. All right. Baking soda and baking powder.
I think so. Yeah, and so
Baking soda, so 1 teaspoon of each of these, bud. Remember how to do it?
and then dump it in.
1 teaspoon of, what's that stuff?
This is baking soda. This one's baking powder. Same thing for this one.
1 teaspoon of baking soda.
What the?
Okay.
1 teaspoon of baking powder.
So one of these, baking powder and baking soda, these are both leavening agents, which react to make the cookies rise. Baking soda reacts with water. Baking powder reacts with acid. So if you were to add like lemon juice to your recipe, you would want to use baking powder. But if your recipe just has water, you would use baking soda. Or maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember. It's one of those two.
Look it up. 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Okay, I'll stir that up. Oh, wait. Where's my 1 teaspoon measure? This is the secret ingredient.
Pumpkin pie spice.
So you can actually just use nutmeg and cinnamon or, you know, sort of whatever combination you want. But this saves you some steps. This is cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice. So
By McCormick,
This-
not sponsored.
not sponsored. So we're going to do 2 whole teaspoons of this. The original recipe calls for a teaspoon of nutmeg and a teaspoon of cinnamon, but this gives us a little bit of extra spiciness.
Spice.
No, I mix it with the
Now you
spoon.
can mix it. Yep.
I mix it with the
Now
spoon.
that we're done mixing these wet ingredients in the mixer, this is what it looks like.
Oh, actually, we forgot to put the pumpkin in.
Ah, we forgot.
Oopsie.
This is a bad tutorial.
Well, we didn't mess it up. We just forgot that stuff.
Well, now let's do that step. Now we've got our pumpkin. We need 1 cup of pumpkin.
Butter on the bottom of the can. Whoa, I almost put it right all over the counter. And again, you can use any kind of cooked squash you like. If you prefer butternut squash or acorn squash. I would not use spaghetti squash. Some kind of winter squash that cooks smooth like this. I suppose you could use spaghetti squash if you want, but you'd have to puree it up first. But I wouldn't recommend it. Plus, pumpkin makes this beautiful orange color.
Beep, beep,
And it's fall stuff.
Oh, right on the counter.
beep, beep.
Give it to Ziggy. I bet he'd like it.
Yeah, baby.
the sink.
Aw.
Just a teaspoon.
It is.
1 teaspoon.
Alright, so Mommy's going to add this into the wet ingredients.
And let it mix for a couple minutes.
2.
Yeah, now it's gonna turn a little bit orange.
It smells good already.
Looking good. With the mixer on low, we add
I'm going to use this half cup measure so that we don't get flour everywhere. As I do it, yes. And I'm going to add this in. Usually, like when you make cookies, you do like 1/3 at a time. And then you mix it up a little bit. Same concept here. Sorry.
and we just mix it in little by little.
Does that smell good? I don't know what.
Now it's done mixing.
Well, Mommy's going to scrape down the sides real quick.
And then it'll be done mixing in a little bit.
So Mommy's scraping down the sides. And you can see that this is it's more cake-like.
Yeah, cakey.
Cakey. And that's what these cookies sort of turn out like. And like I said, you could turn these into muffins. In fact, we have before. I've just scooped them into muffin tins.
I don't remember that personally, but okay.
Yeah, I did.
Well, we'll see you when they're done. Are they done mixing?
They are. Because you said you wanted some without chocolate chips. So we're going to scoop some without chocolate chips to start. And then we'll add chocolate chips to the other ones.
And me and
Yes.
Norah will just eat a bunch of Chucky chips. We don't care.
If you're interested in chocolate chip cookies, check out episode whatever where we make chocolate chip cookies on an absolute sugar high. What are these, Mommy?
So Daddy, there's a cat hair on there. Daddy bought Mommy these awesome Silpat baking sheet covers to keep your cookies from sticking. If you don't have these, I would recommend that you use parchment paper for these cookies because they do stick to the baking sheet. But Nora said she wanted some. without any chocolate chips. So we
So-
use a 2 teaspoon scooper, and I just make heaping spoon scoops. Relax, buddy. I'll let you do some of them. And they're pretty much just drop cookies. You could also do them as drop cookies with just a big tablespoon.
Cool.
And then
Big
they'll
tablespoon.
spread out and puff up and be fluffy and lovely.
We're gonna put our plain cookies in the oven so that we can mix chocolate chips into the other one. We will bake these at 350 degrees for 15 minutes.
And I will switch them halfway through.
Cool. Now we're going to add 1 cup of chocolate chips.
Yeah, the recipe usually calls for 2 for the whole thing, but we did about half the cookies out. And actually, you know what? We don't even need this paddle. We can just hand mix it at this point. Are you guys just binging on chocolate chips now?
Chocolate chips. Now we mix the chocolate chips in. You can do this by hand or with your mixer.
You could also add nuts if you wanted.
Yeah, you could also add crushed up nuts or anything else really that you want that you think would go good in your cookies.
Or you could also use a hand mixer.
You could this would probably be good with white chocolate chips even.
Ooh. What about like
We don't
caramel chocolate chips or whatever?
Oh yeah, like butterscotch.
Mm-hmm.
I think these need a few more.
Just a few. Wait. Snatch.
I think the idea of the chocolate chips is to make it look kind of like a jack-o'-lantern.
Is
Like,
it? Is
yeah.
that the idea,
I
or is
think-
it just because we want to add chocolate chips?
I'm making that up.
It's good raw, but you probably shouldn't eat raw eggs.
Yeah, a little bit of cookie dough never hurt anybody.
That's not true, actually.
Hardly.
That's probably not true.
Probably not true.
Oh well. But we're going to use parchment paper because we only have so many of the silicone mat things.
And mommy's impatient and wants to keep baking.
Mm-hmm. Patience is key here, except when you have the materials to keep going.
Except for when you're not patient.
Basically, nobody is in his house except for our father.
So these cookies also freeze really well. So sometimes what I will do is make the batter and then scoop a whole bunch of it out onto wax paper.
And freeze it.
Freeze it. And then you can just pull a couple of them out, let them come to
Room temperature.
Thaw out or whatever at room temperature, and then you just bake them.
We're going to freeze the rest of this batter, and these can wait off to the side for our other cookies to finish baking so that there's room in the oven. Now we're going to get some wax paper so that we can freeze the rest of our batter for more cookies. Ta-da! Switched the cookies, so now we flip the one on the bottom to the top and one on the top to the bottom. These cookies you can put really close together because they're not going to spread out until you bake them. We'll see you once they're done being scooped. Okay, so our cookies, our plain cookies and our chocolate chip cookies have been out of the oven for a while. We took them off the trays so that they'd cool faster because the trays were still hot. Okay, so it's time for taste test. We've got our cookies. I've got a chocolate chip and a regular one. Let's try the regular one first. Yummy. Looks yummy.
Yum.
Nice and soft in the middle. Very delicious. Now I'll try the chocolate chip cookie as well. That's good. The chocolate chips add that little bit of extra flavor. Very good. 10 out of 10 cookies.
And do some vegetables.
Yeah.